All right, Project Armor Strength Fire Stacking, Episode 1, The Start. Someone in my chat gave me some gear. He gave me this bad boy and this bad boy. This is the main one. This guy's pretty pricey. So because I already had it, I figured I'd try to build something with it. And strength stacking's already been done to death. Armor stacking has already been done to death. But I don't think I've ever seen anyone try to combo the two together, to try to stack strength and stack armor. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And on top of that, I'm going to try to use what is, in my opinion, the worst node in the game, Flames Advance. And as you can see, I am trying to capitalize on this Flames Advance to the extreme. I am grabbing a bunch of circles to get a lot of strength. There's just added strength in there. I think it's about 600. If we go through and we take a look at my character, who is at 2,161, we take out each one of these. It's like a 150, 100 on average for each one. So if you can just kind of think that every socket you're going to get an extra 100 strength. Some of them are small, like this one's only 50. That one's kind of a dud, And a lot of the jewels that I got aren't that great. This jewel here is pretty much perfect. This is what I would want all of them to look like. Obviously, I'd want the fire resistance to be 15, but strength, fire res, life, and then some type of damage modifier. If I get every jewel to do that, it would be pretty awesome, but some of them are not as good as others. Some don't even have life. This one's only got a 5% life. I only spent, I put a 20C cap on this, so all of these jewels are less than 20C. And I just picked up a bunch just to have them around. I don't even think I crit very much at all, so this multi's kind of dead. But I could throw it in there. Now, the armor stackers, the best ones, they use auras to pump up determination and grace, and then that's pretty much it. They just use determination, grace to stack it up, and that works really well, and that's super cool. But I don't really want to do an aura stacker because it's already been done. So I want to try to be thematic and stack the strength. So I'm using 2 walls of muscle and a triple chaos cluster jewel, getting 30% chaos damage, 30% chaos damage, 30% chaos damage, and 10% increased attack speed. Now, this worked very well in my head because I could go buy this Juggernaut jewel Undeniable. Now, I didn't think this would be expensive. I didn't think people would be using Undeniable, but I guess it has a lot of crossover with the Berserker. And a lot of people like to grab the Berserker and then path over and get this Undeniable over there, apparently. So it is very pricey. And I was planning on piping that over to my Chieftain to make it super strong, but that's not going to be a thing. Now, I feel that these two are pretty bad. Flames Advance and this one. But I can't notice this guy happening. I don't see him doing anything. Obviously, he does things, but I don't see him doing it. I got Path of Building up right here. And if I take a look at this skill and I enable this skill. Oh, I put the count way up. Count of 1. It basically doubles my damage when I put it on there. I just don't know if it's working right or if it has a big cooldown on it. It doesn't say anywhere what the cooldown is. It doesn't say here. It doesn't say it has a cooldown, so I'd have to go and read. And we know I can't read, so if I can't feel it do something, it doesn't do anything. That's the rule of thumb. If I grab a skill and I can't notice it, then I didn't actually put a skill on. So let's run a map, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the gear. It's not working great. I don't want to burn through. I got to burn through a T16 because, you know, if I do a T15, it won't be as even. I've been running mostly T16, so if I run a T15, it might feel better than it actually is. Now, doing T16s, it's going to be pretty great. Just because Smite's pretty great, and I have enough damage to kill most of the regular mobs pretty quickly. But the big bosses are now a problem, and that was the specialty of my Righteous Fire build because of the pops, was killing big bosses. But that's all gone. I can't use the pops anymore because I can only do chaos damage. And the chaos damage looks cool because it is 2,000 to 170,000. And that is a huge disparity. And with the skills I'm using, I am using Chance to Poison, Void Manipulation, Ruthless, Multi-Strike, Volatility, and Smite. Now that Volatility is excellent with Alberon's boots. It is the highest damage skill I have. Now, to be more interesting, you could put this on a Gladiator or a Slayer or a Champion using the Gladiators. If you've blocked recently, attack damage is lucky for 20 seconds. While mapping, that should be always up. Bossing, if you go tank enough, and you can actually tank some of the boss hits, that should be up most of the time as well. So that'll be a lot more interesting. And I feel like that's probably a 35 to 40% more damage multiplier. Getting lucky attacks with this much disparity between maximum and minimum. Now, if you want to get even more interesting, you would do a full physical to chaos convert with the Gladiator. So therefore, you can use Rathlos's Coil, which I think also has strength on it. So it won't be that much of a dead node. So you can use Rathlos's Coil and get even more of that maximum damage, and then have it be lucky, and then strength stack to convert it all to chaos, and then increase your attack speed as quick as you can. I don't even have the regen to survive that. I hate this boss. Makes you move. And by this boss, I guess there's multiple bosses. I forgot that I had that Maven mode on. Very good node, the multiple bosses on the Mavens. As you can see, it's running into a bit of an issue on single target. Any of you guys seeing the chieftains? Oh, I think I just saw him. Oh, there he is, a little red guy. It's definitely on a cooldown. Let me get just one attack on. Yeah, there he is. Do we have another boss, or is it just that one? It's just that one. Yeah, with a cooldown, it just doesn't synergize with fast attacking. So Chieftain is not the right build for this, despite me trying to squeeze in fire resistance as one of the stats that I have. I'm stretched too thin, and Path of Exile does hate when you try to combine the mechanics. Like if you try to do bleed and poison, it's never really going to turn out good for you. So here I'm trying to stack armor, strength, and fire resistance, and it is not that good. Now you may say, oh, you're clearing T16 alright, and I am clearing T16 alright. It's not that big of a deal. But my defenses aren't where they need to be. And more importantly, the cost of my gear is actually really high. So I view builds very differently. My Chieftain build was excellent because I can go to T16 on 6 Chaos. This thing is multiple designs. You saw multiple divines. You saw these boots here, 12 divine. This belt is spectacular. I probably won't even have anything remotely close to it on the market. Well, I actually have to select some of the stats here. Yeah, there's nothing even on the market that's close to it. Let's remove the strength and just do that. 50 chaos. The strength is kind of important. There we go. So this is multiple divines. I think I bought it for 3 a while ago because I knew I was going to do a strength stacker at some point. These gloves, I think they're just kind of average. They're perfect for this build. But we got 2 T2s on there, so it could be better, but it is pretty perfect, this build. And obviously I'd want a higher level of the physical damage converted to chaos. Put that to 30%. It would be kind of nice, because you do get quite a bit of flat fizz from these bad boys, but not that much. And obviously the replica dream feathers, those are cheap. The rings are both under a divine, but they're still pretty pricey, and they're really good for this type of build because of the fire and chaos and fire, and it just fixes everything you need. The evasion's kind of cucked. I tried to get items that had evasion and armor, and I pretty much only did it on the gloves and the belt. So the evasion isn't that much of a bonus. I really needed to gear around evasion more if I wanted to do it that way. So I'll probably, when I move over to a jug, I'll probably just drop out Grace entirely, because I don't think Grace is doing too much. Okay, well, Grace is doing quite a bit, but let's take a look at Grace compared to Determination. Okay, shit, I'm just wrong. Grace is doing great. They're both doing damn good. All right, never mind. Maybe I need the Grace. What is my evasion? Okay, yeah, man, my evasion rating is really high. And if I pop my potions... Okay, I didn't pop my potions. I hit the wrong buttons. Let's go a little higher, hands. There we go. Let's take a look at my armor. So it's 271,000. That's pretty low for an armor stacker. My strength is pretty decent, but I'm sacrificing a lot to get that strength. So because of that sacrifice, it's not that great. So let's take a look at Flames Advance. I always hit the buttons in the wrong order. And let's just take out all my sockets. This is going to take a while, and it's going to be quite boring. Let's strip out all these sockets, and let's take a look at what the strength is without any of the sockets using Flames Advance. Now, Flames Advance is bad, and it's probably the worst skill in the game, but it's not that bad because of these tattoos. Because you have to use a lot of these attribute points, and that's why I went around the outside over here instead of trying to go on the inside. That and these nodes are dead to me. I could do a Molten Strike build, but I don't really like Molten Strike that much. So I use those to be able to throw tattoos on the attributes if I really needed to. And I just turned them all to 4 attributes. All the dex nodes, I just turned to 4 attributes. So it gives me strength and int, both of which I needed. So let's take a 14,071. So it is quite a bit of strength, but we got 16 on each one of these. I'm going to put it to 15 just to make easy math. 30, 60, 90, 120. So there's 120 that's coming directly from the jewels themselves, which puts that at 1590, 1600 just for good math. So it goes from 1600 to 21. So that is like 700, between 600 and 700 armor. I mean, not armor, strength that you're getting just from Flames Advance. So, I mean, that is a lot of armor. If the node said add 500 strength, everyone would be jizzing all over that node. But unfortunately, you just got to sacrifice so much to apply it. But that being said, this isn't the greatest attempt at this type of a setup, and it is kind of working. My fire resistance is too low to be that valuable, but let's take a look at this helmet when I take it on and off. Look at that. That is a lot of armor. And let's compare it to the body armor. That helmet is doing a lot of work to give you armor. So the armor stacking and the fire res stacking, they go together very well. Throwing in the strength stacking to combo with this probably isn't the best idea. So you probably want to do an armor and fire resistant stacker, and or a strength and fire resistant stacker. But I think the armor and fire resistant stacker is probably going to be best. Because if I turn this into an armor stacker, straight armor stacker, and went the aura route, it's going to give me huge numbers. And I'll probably end up doing that once I allow myself to take a break from trying to crafting cluster jewels, or I just bite the bullet and go buy them. But crafting cluster jewels has got me in my feels. It's got me down because it's just boring and I hate it. I'm not a big fan of crafting in this game because I want everything done already, and it's just so expensive and so hard. I like how complex it is, but after you've been doing it, it feels like you do it for an entire day of just crafting shit. And I want to play the game. I want to build new builds. I don't want to be crafting stuff. I need like a part-time crafter who just crafts shit for me. What the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about this as being the first form. It'd be really good with this. I'm gonna switch over to a Paradoxica now because I've already explored this enough that I don't want to proceed farther because the gains will be not nearly as big. So I'm not going to proceed it anymore, and I'm going to try the Paradoxica that came with this armor and these boots that the cool bro gave me. Paradoxica. So I am going to be using this bad boy. Attacks with this weapon penetrate 15% chaos resistance. Attacks with this weapon deal double damage. And that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go crit. It's going to be juicy. And we'll see what I can do with that. And then after that, I'm going to switch to a Juggernaut, and then it's going to go ham. With the Juggernaut, it's going to go ham. Because if we take a look at my favorite node of the Chieftain, I don't know what it's called, TAS. If we take a look at the favorite node of the Chieftain, this one, 40 Divine. And let's go to the Chieftain. TAS. I'm guessing a Divine. Right there, a device. Good thing I looked it up instead of just buying it. 1 Divine. So let's make sure the other one's not crazy expensive. Okay, that was weird. It just like pulled it right over. One Divine. So 2 Divine, and I'll be able to move my favorite node over to the Juggernaut, and it's going to be much stronger. Why is that my favorite node? I just think it works much better than this one. The maximum fire resistance, if you really want to go that route, you could do Melding of the Flesh to replicate this. And I could even include Melding of the Flesh here if I really wanted to, because I'm only stacking fire. Melding of the Flesh isn't going to be that much of a hit on me, because I'm going to stack just a bunch of fire, and it's going to get me over that Melding of the Flesh cap anyways. But this one, the Unaffected by Ignite, it's pretty hot all on its own. Because if you're only worried about dying, being frozen is easy to deal with, and being shock immune is pretty easy to deal with. So getting this Unaffected by Ignite, you can go down here and get Unaffected by Bleed, and then get Unaffected by Poison some other way. And then you get unaffected by the ones that are going to kill you, which is Bleed, Ignite, Poison, and Petrified Blood. Those are the ones that are going to kill you. Shock will sneakily kill you because it'll make you take more damage. And then Freeze is just annoying. Freeze and Chill just slows you down. All right. Gonna go switch that into a Paradoxica. Did I talk about everything? I believe I did. I'm gonna have to get a lot more decks, and I'm gonna have to go get some Regret. Gonna have to go buy some Regret, but all this should transfer over pretty well. So the next move, part 2, is going to be Paradoxica attempt with Chieftain. Then part 3 is going to go to Juggernaut using the replica Dream Feathers, and then Juggernaut using the Paradoxica. Pretty sure the Paradoxica is going to work. Like, I think that's almost like an established build. The Paradoxica Strength Stacker using replica Alberons. That's kind of known. I think a lot of people use Warcries with it. I'll use Smite because I like Smite, and Vol Smite's spectacular. But we'll give that a shot. We'll give that a shot. All right. Talk to you guys later.